like to do today is a little bit off the beaten path, but we're going to do a little bit of Purim, a little bit of Gan Eden, and then bring it back to Vayikra. Believe it or not, I know it's a tall order, but I will do my best. How are you feeling? Good.
Okay.
Good. And Alex is
also
good. Please send him my best.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Amen. So, the Gemara asks a very strange question. The Talmud asks, where is Esther found in the Torah? And where is Haman found in the Torah? Very, very strange questions, because obviously Esther and Haman took place long after the Torah, the story of the Torah ended, right? Esther and Haman are living thousand years that live, 2,000 years or whatever it is after. More asked, where's Mordechai in the Torah, right? All at where, right? Now, the Gemara answers in regard to Esther. The pasuk says, "Haster astir et panai michem." God says that there will be times that I will hide my face from you. Haster astir Esther. The same name, the same word. But it's not simply a play on words over here. What the Gemara is asking is, this essence of the Esther experience, where is that found in the Torah? And the answer is very simply, that's found. This was a time, Purim was a time of Hester Panim. Hester Panim means the face is hidden. Hester Panim. This came about right before the second temple is about to be rebuilt, at the end of the 70-year exile, but we didn't know that we were at the very end. We hoped we were at the end. We prayed we were at the end, but the prophecy had been that after 70 years Jerusalem would be rebuilt, and there were many miscalculations as to when those 70 years were up. And actually, Achashverosh, according to the Talmud, made that miscalculation, thought that it was all over, and he threw the lavish banquet party that the Megillah begins with, was Achashverosh's celebration of his full hold on his kingdom, because those pesky Jews were now out of the picture, because they were supposed to be redeemed within 70 years. If they were not redeemed, it means they were not going to be redeemed. And therefore, the Talmud tells us at this party, he used vessels from the temple. He wore the garments of the Kohen Gadol, of the high priest. Because at this point, it's just a masquerade party. At this point, I could do all of these things with impunity because it's all over. So it was a time for the Jews where prophecy coming to an end. We're in exile now. The unthinkable, the temple was destroyed. And we're in exile. And then that which we're holding on to, the 70 years prophecy, seems to have passed without any redemption at all. So it's a time when we are feeling adrift, neglected, that God confused, right? And therefore the Gemara tells us, where is Esther found in the Torah? Haster astir panai michem. I will hide my face from you. From hiding my face, what does it mean? I'm right there. I am right there, right in front of you. I am right there, but we don't see it. But we don't see it. And that is the Esther and Torah that is so powerful for us today. That's the lesson that we need to learn of Hester Panim. Means we don't see God doing open miracles, but He's right there. Hester Panim, it's right there, but it is hidden. We don't see it. I always tell people during classes, right, it doesn't make sense. Well, let's learn to say, I don't understand. Not it doesn't make sense, but rather I don't understand. One of the greatest genius minds that we've had in our Talmudic history is Rabbi Akiva Eger. And he, fairly recent, yet he's placed onto the Gemara page itself, right, on the side there. And he'll ask questions that are slam questions. And when he has a really, really tough question, he ends off with V'tzarech iyun. Tzarech iyun means, I need to look into this more deeply. I'm obviously not understanding it. And if it's a really big question, he says, Tzarech iyun gadol. I really, this needs a lot of inspection, of focus. Right? So it's not Hester Panim. Hashem's face is hidden.
Rabbi, on some level, Hashem doesn't even want to see what's happening to us.
The Gemara asks, where is Haman found in the Torah? Where is Haman found in the Torah? And the Gemara says, I'll tell you exactly where it is. And I'll tell you also. If you take a look on page 16. Sixteen, 17. Adam and Eve have just eaten from the Eitz Hada'at Tov V'Ra, the tree of knowledge of Tov and Ra. They hear God. They heard, verse 8, Vayishmu et kol Hashem Elokim, they heard the voice of Hashem God, mitalech, manifesting itself, so to speak, in the Gan. Vayitchabei Adam v'ishtahu, and they hid amongst the trees of the garden. And Hashem called out, verse 9, Vayomer lo ayeka, where are you? Vayomer, and he said, Et kol chashamati began. I heard the sound of you in the Gan, in the garden, V'ira, and I was afraid, ki erom anochi, because I'm naked, ve'echavei, so I hid. Vayomer, verse 11, Yud Aleph, mi gilecha ki eromata. Who told you that you are naked? Hamin ha'etz asher tzivitichi livitol achol minenu achalta. Is it from the tree of which I commanded you, don't eat from it? Have you eaten? Look at that word. Hamin ha'etz. Hey, mem, nun. What is hamin? Hey, mem, nun. From, right? If from. But hey, mem, nun spells Haman. Here's where Haman is in the Torah, the Gemara says. But what does that mean? Very good. You found a hey, a mem, and a nun. So now we found Haman in the Torah.
We're happy,
right? Is that what it means? Obviously not. Obviously there must be much, much depth and understanding in what the connection is over here between Haman, the arch enemy, Haman, who was Hitler, who tried to do the whole final solution in one day, and Adam, who ate from the tree. How are we comparing those two? So let's step back a little bit. Let's ask some fundamental questions about Adam and Chava here in Gan Eden. The first command we've mentioned was, eat from all the trees of the garden. But, second command, from this tree, Eitz Hadat Tov V'Ra, don't eat. So first of all, what is this tree? What is this tree? What was the big deal? What was the temptation that they had to eat from it?
Tree of knowledge.
Yes, but what does that mean? It's tree of knowledge of good and evil. What does that mean? What was this tree about? What was their great temptation? And as we've discussed before, well, why did God put it there? If you don't want
To know,
them to eat, so don't put it there.
to know limits.
Free choice.
Okay, so let's start with the third one first. And this we've discussed a number of times. Why is it there? To give limits, to give free choice, for them to realize that it's not their garden, it's not their world, God is God, it's God's world. And you're a guest there. It's not all yours. It's not all for you. That is why it was placed there. Right? You're dealing with an infant, with a toddler, so you baby-proof the house. As they get a little bit older, they have to know. Certain areas are off limits. Right? We invite guests over. We don't start locking up every room of the house and every drawer of a cabinet. Because we expect that people understand that they're guests in someone else's house and there are limits, as you said, Rosa. There are limits that need to be there. So why then did they eat? You know, what's fascinating is the whole garden was filled with trees. We don't hear that they ate from any other tree. It seems like they made a beeline for this tree. Why? Why?
Serpent.
You tell someone not to,
Yeah.
what happens?
They say forbidden fruit is sweet.
Forbidden fruit is sweet. Yeah. Actually, it's a pasuk in Mishlei. Mayim genuvim yumtaku. Stolen water is very sweet. Right? What we can't have is what we want. But let's take it a step deeper. If the whole idea of the tree was limitation, you can have it all. Why do they eat from the tree? Because what is it that human beings want? We want to have it all. We don't want to feel, I'm here in God's world. I need to have all of this gratitude. Right? We call it a debt of gratitude. You owe. I don't want to feel I owe anyone anything. I'm a self-made man over here. I'm independent, right? That's the American spirit. That pioneer independence, self-sufficiency. We don't like to be under the umbrella of someone else. I'll take care of myself. I do myself. It was a denial of this overarching presence that we are under, that we are beholden to, that we are dependent upon. We don't like to feel that. Let's go to the Eitz Hada'at Tov V'Ra. And here Rabbi David Foreman says an amazing thing. It's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So he says, we overanalyze this. Right? What was it? Oh, that's, passion, this, that. But let's take it slow. Let's take the Torah with what the Torah tells us. This is the tree of knowledge of Tov and Ra. Tree of knowledge of good and bad. What have we heard the terms Tov and Ra so far in the Torah? Yes. We find it very often. As God is creating the world, he says, this is Tov. And then he said, there was also a Lo Tov in the Torah. What's Lo Tov?
Not good when Adam was alone.
Good. Lo Tov hayot adam levado. It's not good for man to be alone. So when he saw that it was Tov, what did he do? Kept it, maintained it, and went on. When he saw it was Lo Tov, not good, what did he do? Fixed it. Not good for mankind to be alone. As Eliezer Kenegdo, let me make a counterpart, a spouse. Later on by Noach, God saw Ki Rabbah Ra'at Ha'adam. Great was the Ra. So what did he do? He destroyed it. And then rebuilt it. So when you are a creator, or anyone has, it's either good, not good, bad. Those are the three things. We have Tov, we have Lo Tov, we have Ra. Tov, maintain it. Lo Tov, fix it. Ra, remove it. Eating, now, when God is making that decision, we know it is an objective, clear decision. The Eitz Hadat Tov Ra means I get to choose what is Tov, what is Ra. I get to choose what should be maintained, what should be altered, fixed, remedied, and what should be obliterated, annihilated, removed. I get to choose Tov and Ra. But that is incredibly dangerous. Because we have two different scales of Tov and Ra. I could say to you, kindness is Tov, is good. Very good. I could say to you, pizza with extra cheese. That's really good. I could use the term Tov, good for both. So Tov could be an objective Tov, this is something that's good. Or Tov could be something that might be really unhealthy for me, but something that I really like. If I really like it, That's good. Broccoli, bad. Cheese barekas, mushroom barekas, shawarma, good. Right? All of a sudden, we're talking about my desires. Might be very unhealthy desires, good and bad. So once mankind eats from the Eitz Hada'at, Tov V'Ra, they feel that they are now the arbiters of good and bad. I can decide what remains, what needs to be fixed, and what needs to be removed. And we saw that last night at this exhibit about the Holocaust. I saw some quotes there that I hadn't seen, or if I'd seen them, I'd forgotten them, but so powerful that we need to put aside our own scruples, the Nazis would say, in order to do what is good, what is right. Even though our scruples might tell us this isn't good, but this is good. This is good. You see a picture of a soldier there, a woman holding her baby, and a soldier about to shoot them. This is good. Because we decided it's good. To rid the world of this scourge. This is good. That is the Eitz Hadat, Tov V'Ra, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I get to decide. And we see how all three work together, meaning God said there needs to be limits. You need to understand that you're in my world. We don't want to have limits. We want to feel that we are fully in control. No one tells me what to do. I do as I see fit. I eat from the Eitz Hadat Tov V'Ra. I decide what's Tov, what's Lo Tov, what's Ra. But that gets very, very dangerous. Because Tov is something that is inherently Tov, and Tov is something that I want, that I think is good, that fulfills my desires. That is also Tov. So Adam had everything, but he couldn't eat from that one tree. And therefore, he went right for that. Let's go back now to Haman min haTorah minayin. Let's go back to our the individual named Haman. Haman had everything. Haman had been elevated by Achashverosh. He is the most powerful person in the kingdom, short of Achashverosh, the king himself. But what happens? If you take a look on page 12, $12.54. Chapter 3 begins. After all these matters, Gidal, Hamelech Achashverosh, et Haman ben Amdasal Gagi vayinaseyu. The king elevated, promoted Haman, the Agagite, and lifted him up. Vayasem et kiso mi'al kol hasim asher ito. His seat was higher than everyone else, for all the other officers. And everyone is bowing down to Haman. That's what the king had sworn, had commanded. Mordechai lo yichra v'lo yishtachaver. But Mordechai, he will not bow. He will not bow himself down to Haman. Pasuk Hey on 1255, verse 5. Verse 5. Hey, Vayar Haman ki Mordechai kor shtakavelo. Haman saw that Mordechai would not bow down to him. Vayimalei Haman chema, and he was filled with this malice, with this rage. Pasuk Chet, verse 8, he says, Achashverosh yeshna am echad. There is one nation, mefuzar, spread out amongst the nation, throughout all the kingdom. And their religion, their laws are different. And the laws of the king they don't keep. It's not worth for the king to keep them. Let's destroy them. And the king agrees. What happened then?
The poor.
Just one second. Let's go to page 12. Oh, I'm sorry, 1257. Mordechai hears about this decree. Mordechai speaks to Esther. Esther goes before the king and asks for a little get-together for Haman, Achashverosh, and her. They come together to this feast. King says to Esther, what is your request? And she said, my request is 1257. Yavo HaMelech Pasuk 8. Yavo HaMelech Haman al Mishtar She'aselem Achar. Esek Var HaMelech. Let the king and Haman come to a banquet. I'll prepare for them. Tomorrow I will do the king's bidding. Vayetze Haman v'yomahu sameach v'tov leiv. Haman that day went out joyful, exuberant. And when he saw Mordechai at the gate of the king, not moving, he was filled with rage, infuriated. Vayitapak Haman, he restrained himself, and he came to his house. And he brought Oavav, he brought his dear ones, and Zeresh his wife. And he told them about Kvod Ashro, about the honor of his wealth, V'rov Banav, and how many children he has. This is pathetic. Who's he talking to? His wife. And what's he telling her? How wealthy he is. How many kids he has. And how the king had elevated him. How he's lifted up on all the officers and all the servants of the king. And Haman went on and said, Pasuk Yud 12, one person was invited to Esther and Achashverosh's party. Who was that? Me. The Gam Lamachar. And also tomorrow, Ani Kurula Imam Melech. I'm summoned to be there with the king. I've got everything, but what's it all worth to me? Nothing. Why? Because I can't eat from that one tree. Because the one thing that I want to have, there's one thing that I don't have, and therefore that's the only thing that I want to have. The problem with that attitude is once you have that, you don't want it anymore. Because it's not that you want, you're not at peace with yourself. And therefore you keep thinking that happiness will come from something external to me. The problem is, once it becomes incorporated into who you are, this self-hatred makes you not want that anymore. And it's more and more and more. Haman could not, well, we'll soon see further about this. But whatever I have, that's not important. I want what I can't have. We see the Haman in our Torah, Haman found in the Torah by the Eitz Hadat. That same idea. I want everything. Vatomelo Zeresh Ishto. So Zeresh, very similar to Chava, says, you can have it. Let's eat from it. What does Zeresh say? Yasu eitz. Gavoa chamishim amah. Right? Let a gallows be made, 50 cubits high. And in the morning, tell the king you want to hang Mordechai on it. And that way, you go to the party, you'll see Mordechai hanging from the gallows, and you'll be very happy. But what does the pasuk, what does the Hebrew say for gallows?
Tree.
Eitz. What's an eitz? A tree. Right? You're going to have your tree. You're going to eat from your eitz hadat. You can have everything that you want. Vayitav hadavar lifnei Haman. The matter was what? Tov. Right? Tov is a very dangerous word. Once it's given over to mankind, with all of our passions, all of our jealousies. It was good before Haman. Vayas ha'etz. Right? It's almost like rubbing our nose in it. And he made the tree. You don't make a tree. Well, that night the king couldn't sleep, we learn in chapter 6. And he had the book of Chronicles brought before him. And it's read that Mordechai had saved the life of the king. And Ahasuerus said, well, what was done? What honor, what glory was done to thank Mordechai for this? And they said, and the pasuk Gimel 3, Lo nasa imo davar, nothing at all. The king said, who is in the chatzer? Who's in the courtyard? Now, it just so happens, who was in the courtyard? Haman. Why was he in the courtyard? He came early to catch the king in the morning, to tell him to hang Mordechai on the tree. Litlotin Mordechai al ha'etz, on the tree that he had prepared. The servants, pasuk Hey 5 say, they said, oh, hine Haman. Haman is there in the courtyard. The king says, let him in. Vayavo Haman. Haman came. And the king said to him, Ma lasot bi'ish shamelech chafetz bikaro. What should be done for a person that the king wants to honor? Haman says in his heart, whom might the king ever want to honor more than yours truly? He said, the person the king wants to honor, verse 8, Chet, Yaviu levush malchut. Let's bring the royal garments. Asher lavashbo hamelech, that who wore? The king. Visus, and the horse. Asher rachav alav hamelech, that who rode on that horse? The king. Vashanitam kitam malchut barosho. When the king was coronated, when the crown was put on his head, let's bring the garments that he wore. Let's bring the horse that he rode. Right? Guys used to have posters on their walls of different rock stars. Right? And then what would they do? They cut out a picture of their own head and put it on. So it sure looked like Mick Jagger over there, but actually it was my friend Bob. Right? Right? His head's on there. Right? That's what Haman's doing over here. Let's reenact that whole coronation of the king, except it'll be my head that is sticking out of the royal garments, that's riding on the royal horse. And then, Vanatun halavush, give the garments and the horse to one of the Sarei Hamelech, one of the officers of the king. V'il be Shuat Hamelech, and let them dress this person, Asher Hamelech, that the king wants to give honor to. And let them ride him in the streets of the city, and call before him, Kacha, this is what should be done to a king, to a person. Kacha yasel ish, asher hamelech chafetz bikaro, that the king wants to honor. King, 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 king. What did we say about Adam in the Garden of Eden? Right? The tree is understanding. The tree is there, but don't eat. Limits. Right? There is a king. Right? We know that whenever it says Hamelech in the Megillah, there's that deeper meaning that it's a reference to not Hamelech Achashverosh, not King Achashverosh, but to Hamelech, to God, to the king. The struggle for Adam is one that we all struggle with. We want to be king. We want to be in control. We don't want to be under the aegis of anyone else. We want to be the Melech. We want to have the one thing that we can't. What happens over here? So Mordechai is paraded around. Let's go back to the Garden of Eden for a moment. Once they eat from the Eitz Hadat, what happens? Thank you. Once they eat, they were warned, once you eat from the Eitz Hadat, what will happen? You'll die. Immediately? No. It means you will have mortality. But the connection of the Eitz Hadat is death. Right? What ends up happening? Mordechai is led through the streets by none other than Haman himself. 1258, they come now to the second party, and right, Achashverosh says, what is it that you want? And she said this, I want my life. I want my nation. Right? Tinatain li, chapter 7, verse Gimel 3. Titain li nafshi b'she'elati. Give me my life. That's my request. V'ami b'vakashati. And what I'm petitioning for is my people. Because we've been sold to be destroyed. The king says to Esther and Haman, verse 5, Mi uzevezahu. Right? Who is this? And she says, verse 6, Ish tsar voyev Haman arahazeh. Right? Haman. The king got up in his anger. And he went out to where? Where did he go out to?
The balcony.
Ginat Habitan. To the garden. So we have an 8. The gallows was an 8. We have the Gan. Haman starts to beg for his life. The king comes back from Ginat HaBeitan. Haman is there, falling onto the bed. And Charvona speaks up and says, hey, there's the 8s, verse 9. There's the tree that Haman made for Mordechai, who spoke well about the king. It's there, 50 amot. And the king says, hang him on that. Verse 10, Vayitlu et Haman al ha'etz. Haman was hung on that eitz, on that tree, on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordechai. Wow. So we see that when the Gemara said, oh, Haman is found in the Torah. Where? Oh, it wasn't simply that we did a spell check and looked for the letters, hey, mem, nun, and found one. Hey, we got it. This is fundamentally the issue that Adam dealt with, that Haman deals with, and that we deal with. We want what we don't have. We want what we don't have. We really want what we can't have. And we don't want to be limited by someone else, dependent, gratitude, owing. We don't want that. We want to have this absolute independence. Before we get to Vayikra, our Parsha, let's take a look at the end of Parshat Vayikra, which is still there in Bereshit, page 102, 104. Actually, 100 is where it starts. Vayihi achar hadvarim ha'ela miri b'chavod. Page 100. 100. One more, Vayashkem. Okay, in English, please. Janet, you got it?
And it happened after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he replied, here I am, Hineni. And he said, please take your son, your only one, whom you love, Yitzhak, and go to the land of Moriah, and bring him up there as an offering upon one of the mountains, which I shall tell you. So Abraham woke up early in the morning, and he saddled his donkey. He took his 2 young men with him, and Isaac his son. He split the wood for the offering, and stood up and went to the place which God had spoken to him.
Okay. So we've discussed Akedah a number of times. At its core, at its essence, is the idea. Now keep in mind that prophecy is something that there was absolutely no doubt that this is what God had told him to do. So many people ask, why did Avram do it? Maybe he should have, to quote Nancy Reagan, just say no. I'm not going to do this. Just say no. This is wrong. This is immoral. This is murder. Fratricide? Is that the term when a parent kills a child? No, I'm not going to do this. And there are those that deepen the question. When it came to Sodom and Gomorrah, God said he's going to destroy it. Avram's there arguing, advocating, lawyering. And here, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it. But the understanding that I have, Sodom and Gomorrah, God said to him, there's a lot of bad things going there. I'm going to go down there and see what's going on, and I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. So Avram understands, why is God bringing me into this at all? Clearly he wants my input. It makes no sense why he wants my input. There's nothing that I could add to the discussion, but he wants my input, meaning he wants this world to be guided through human eyes and not just through godly eyes. And therefore Avram throws himself into the fray. Advocating, arguing, apologizing. Anochi afar ve'efer. It's audacious for me to keep saying, but if. Here it wasn't, God said, I'm thinking about asking you to do this. Bring your son up to the mountain, and then I'll decide. Here it was unambiguous. God commanded Avram to do this. What we have here is, to a degree, the antithesis of Adam and Chava in the Garden of Eden. There it was, I want everything. Here it's the understanding of Avram and of Yitzchak that nothing is mine. Nothing is mine. I think it was Rabbi Schwab who was in the hospital towards the end of his life in a very debilitated state. And he still had this glow of happiness about him. And someone said to him, Rebbe, how do you still have this glow? And he said, God's been giving me $1 million a day for my whole life. Healthy, clear of mind. Now the gift has been minimized.